Welcome to Cinematalkraphy. We watch movies with you so you don't have to.
Welcome to Cinematalkraphy. I am your host, Brandt Hughes, and joining me today
is Roberto Villegas.
Is that how I sound to you?
Yep.
I sound like a robot?
You are Robotronic in my brain.
You're how many levels deep is that robot in your dreams?
2.5.
2.5 deep.
Yeah.
Reason I bring that up, people, is because we are talking about and commentating over Christopher Nolan's Inception.
What?
Christopher Nolan's Inception.
Oh, okay.
What'd you think I said?
No, I was just so surprised.
Oh, I see. See, what's amazing about this film, do you remember the trailer for this movie?
Yeah. I remember the teaser trailer and the official trailer.
I remember that the foghorn from that trailer became like not only the internet meme, but like was on at least a couple other trailers.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely informed the landscape of things to come.
I don't know if it's good or bad for what that.
I loved it.
Obviously you did. I'm okay with it. The movie is 2 hours, 28 minutes, and 7 seconds. And we're watching the Blu-ray copy, but this should also sync up with the digital copy that comes with the Blu-ray as well.
Yep.
Brandt, why don't you count us off? And here we are. The Warner Brothers logo.
Yes.
I always loved
So it is.
I always loved the Matrix version of that one. The way they did the whole like digital thing and kind of zoomed into it.
Oh yeah, with the binaries.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always dug that one a lot.
Like,
Now, okay. When did you see this film when it came out in theaters or afterwards? Twice, really?
Hell yeah.
I only saw it once in
It
theaters.
was one of the few that I saw twice. I saw it with my mom, and I dragged my mom to it. I was like, no, trust me. You want to see this. So we saw it like on opening night, and then I saw it like a week or two later with my dad.
I always loved the way that it opened up.
Yeah.
You know, if this shit. Well, because it opens up, like, what I liked about it and dug about it was that it opened up kind of in the middle of the film. You know, it sort of almost becomes at the end at a weird point. I thought it was a cool thing about this movie because of that fact.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good use of that filmmaking technique where it kind of loops back around on itself.
For sure. But I again, because this is such it's such a weird movie. Because even when this was advertised, you know, we talked about earlier with the whole trailer and things like that. Even when this movie was advertised, like I didn't know a heck of anything about it. You know, I knew that it involved dreams and things like that, but you see the trailer and you see like a building collapsing to the ground and you see some type of snow battle sequence and you see, you know, weird things, but there was no real explanation.
Yeah, I remember going into full Jeff Kanata mode and just like not seeing any trailers. I remember hearing on Slash Film that, oh snap, Christopher Nolan's doing a new movie, and I was like, I'm already in. And then they were revealing some photos. They showed the suitcase, the kind of dream machine sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then there was just the tagline, something like crime takes place in the architecture of the mind or something like that. And I was like, I am so in. This is my movie. This is my jam.
For me, I remember the coolest thing about this movie was I'm always a fan of the side marketing for films, like the AR kind of stuff or the viral marketing for things. Like Spider-Man, they had the whole at points you could, if you were in the world, certain places you could find like the Oscorp.
That was a really nice transition.
The badge. Oh yeah, but that's right. Hey, look, he's here.
Yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't even notice the transition happened.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's great.
It just caught me. But when it comes to this movie, one of the things you could do was that I think you could go to the website, type in a code, and you can actually find a PDF manual for the dream device with instructions and how to work and how to safely operate it and things like that. It was really cool how they put a lot of that stuff in the world.
Yeah.
The extra stuff, because ultimately in the movie they don't really explain it all. They don't really do much. I mean, even in the manual, it doesn't explain how it works and why you can share dreams with that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here's the question. Let's say you have to share a dream with somebody. Who is that somebody?
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Okay. All right. What is your shared dream between you?
No hesitation.
No hesitation. Not at all. God, this is our second Joseph Gordon-Levitt film we've done.
Yeah.
We're eventually going to do more because there's so many more JGL movies on our list.
It is my goal for us to do all of them.
See, for me, I'd want to share a movie with Ken Watanabe because Ken Watanabe is a awesome motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean,
and
he's cool.
He's a smooth motherfucker.
The arrogance of man.
Yeah. That's what's so weird now watching Ken Watanabe here. Oh man, this is why I love this a lot, is that him kind of going between the different dream worlds.
God, it's just so cool.
Oh yeah.
Like everything about this is so cool.
Well, because you don't know what's going on. You know, you don't, like, even now you only kind of get it. And even now I only sort of understand it. Because it's just such a weird. I mean, because what's weird is that they're like, at this point they're not even in. Like, they're still in a dream at this point right here.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea of that they have a dream machine within a dream machine within a dream machine is so weird, you know. Yeah. And the idea just how they get it deeper and deeper. And of course the idea that they've made all these kind of things and they train for that. Like, it's such a bizarre world of that existing. Like, I hope we never get to this world, not because I don't want to share dreams with anybody, but because I don't like the one thing that I'm scared the most about this world, is the idea of. I guess the idea that it's hard as hell to trust reality in this, in this world.
Right. Yeah.
And there's only a couple times where, and I'll point them out as the movie comes along, where shit gets real and things are real. Obviously, right now we're in dream sequence, so it's never gonna be real. But that's neither here nor there.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember how important this film was at the time?
Oh yeah, this was a huge film.
Like,
this was like
people were talking some big stuff. Like, this came out at the height of reappropriating old IPs. Transformers 2 had just come out, I think.
Yep.
Or had been out for a little bit, but was doing
well. This is keep in mind. This
Stretch
is also
Armstrong.
Oh, that's right. I
was
announced.
Forgot
that was there.
Like, people were like, "What is going on?"
But even then, this was like post. Was it post Dark Knight or post Batman? It was post one of the Batman films for sure.
Yeah, it was definitely after. It was definitely after Batman Begins.
Batman Begins,
whatever that first one was.
And I remember that was a big deal because, I mean, Christopher Nolan had done other movies, but a lot of people hadn't.
Oh, and you know what? It was after The Dark Knight as well,
right?
Because this was. I feel like this was the one that. Didn't he do this so that way? Oh, you know what? So I think this is the one that they financed.
So they could do.
So, and Christopher Nolan was like, "Here, help me out. We'll make this movie, and then I'll just go do The Dark Knight Returns for you."
Exactly. It was things like that, because I remember that was a big deal. I mean, Christopher Nolan had done movies prior to this that were, his own ideas. Like, I think he did. What was it? Memento? I forget which one he did.
Yeah, he did Memento.
Okay, that's
he
right.
He did Insomnia.
Yeah. Right. So he had done stuff.
He did The
before.
Following.
He had done stuff before, but a lot of the, as great as movies are, they're not necessarily the most mainstream of films.
Sure, yeah.
But this was the one, was that case, was this whole, oh, yes, this is...
Yeah, and nobody knew, like, whether this was going to perform or not.
No.
It was such a big gamble. Like, I kind of had faith in it just because I knew it was going to be a quality film. Just going into it, like, I had that feeling deep down in my gut. I was like, this is going to be amazing. and I just hope everybody sees it, and somehow it performed incredibly well, like beyond all expectations.
For sure. But because it was such a gamble at the time, because you're right, that was the beginning almost of the end in the current Hollywood we're in right now of just sequel after sequel after sequel, franchise after franchise after franchise, and here comes some new bizarre IP. And it's a very, deep movie, a very hard movie to follow, and that's sometimes its advantage. But
yeah, and it was this big thing where it was like, okay, someone is going to give a lot of money to an original idea. I mean, some people would argue it's originality, but whatever.
Right.
Like, it is its own movie, is not relying on anything else for it to be successful. And could you imagine what things would have looked like for the next 3 years after if this had just totally bombed?
Oh God, we would never have seen any original IP. There would have been nothing coming out. Everything would have been the same.
Yeah, everybody would have just been like, yeah, well, I mean, sure, we could give you a bunch of money, but I mean, look at Inception.
Yeah, because Inception was such a gamble. Because I remember, that was the year of the movie draft that no one, for the United Attack fans out there, former NSFW show fans, the people that do a movie draft league. I remember that movie was the one no one really knew what was going to happen with it, and everyone was sort of like, it's a risk, and some people took it, some people didn't, and it was just such a very strange thing, So it was just such a hard, it's a great film, and I'm glad that it turned out the way it did, because it would have been sad had this not worked out.
Yeah.
Oh
man, we're about to get to the water shot. Oh, it's going to be so cool.
I forgot about the shot. See, my shots that I love are a lot of the...
Man, just in theaters, this was such an insane...
No, you're right. I saw this was insane in theaters, and having the sound around you, it's again a great fucking film. It's a great movie, and definitely this is coming up into the around the time when I'd say, there it is.
I think this was some of the early released press footage and stuff.
Oh yeah, no, this was
so cool.
No, what I was saying was this was, right around that time, maybe a little bit after, when DiCaprio was starting to get better roles as an actor. Mm-hmm. This is this is after, for example, The Departed and a lot of that kind of stuff, and so having him here, it was insane for that time, and again, what I dug was just how everything worked out and how things are gonna, all that stuff.
It was totally a big upswing in DiCaprio's stuff. I mean, he's always been in some pretty solid movies. He's got a really good track record, but I think after this, he was able to really leverage his position. Also, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I feel like he's done some good stuff before this. 500 Days of Summer was great, and a couple things here and there. But this is one of those big. I don't know though to say breakout roles, but this really showed, his capacity to really take a role and make it his own.
Again, the idea behind all this is that it's this was insane, is his concept.
Yeah.
Of that we are still within a, the dream world. Because the idea that all this stuff is there, it's such a weird thing. And
that song, all of the layering and speed ramping of that song, and it's so great. And then the iconic noise is just that song slowed down. It's so smart and so cool.
But yeah, there's again a lot of really cool like what I dig about this film is that once we start getting layer upon layer and stuff. And two, I love that
this is such a great reveal.
Yeah.
Because it's so like that seems like a pretty it's funny because dreams stuff like this happens all the time in dreams and you just don't think much of it.
Yeah.
But maybe if you were in somebody else's dream, you'd be a little bit more cognizant and aware of this weird anomaly.
Well, yeah, that's the one thing interesting about this world that we live in is that a lot of people are aware of the concept of lucid dreaming, and what that means. And so I really dig the world that's how it exists, is that everything's very lucid dreaming.
Mm-hmm.
Two, Two, I love the idea behind that everyone, that we're in somebody else's dream and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
and the idea behind that, that there's an architect and things like that. Like that, there's so many layers of it,
Yeah, it's such a just well put together, not just execution wise, but like concept wise, and all of the pieces really fit well together.
Yeah. Man, I'm starting to get slowly sucked into this film, and I'm trying not to for the commentary's sake because
go all the way, Roberto. Just become incepted, and seeped.
I love the idea of he's just like, did things happen? I'm like, well, what the fuck are you looking at, bitch? Of course, they're riding J-rail, which is one of the Japanese rail systems.
Yeah?
How I know that, I don't know. I take it back. I've looked into it out of curiosity.
J-rail.
I really like a lot. Again, there's so many of these shots I like, and I dig the concept of the totem so much.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'll say this right now, and it's when we get to the end, I'll give my final critique on the ending because I'm not a big fan of the ending.
Really?
For little reasons.
The ending is so great.
I'll go into what it is. The thing of the top is it's not so much for DiCaprio. That top indicator is only for the audience. And I'll point out some scenes that we get to that it's a surefire note of we're in the real world. Because they're very, very key scenes. And ultimately, every one of the shots that does it is mainly for the audience. Because the hard part of this movie, when you try to get someone involved into it, is the fact that there are, but you never quite know unless you really follow the threads when you're in a dream, when you're not in a dream. That's the key factor of this movie is almost be put off guard. That's why we have DiCaprio, because he's been doing this for years, because he's got to pay a debt to somebody.
Right.
And it's never really explained that portion. But because he has to pay that debt, he has blurred the lines between reality and dream to not even know where the hell he is,
Mm-hmm.
because of all the crap that's happened and stuff like that. Which they get into the movie, the whole idea that he lived a lifetime with his wife in a dream, because you can do that if you know what to do. But just because they did that, they still come back to the real world where they're no longer it's almost like a reset. But that's one thing I dug about the film, because you just couldn't tell. But that totem there, because they never showed how the other totems work. Like you see Joseph Gordon-Levitt's, I think, chess piece, or he got a dice. I can't remember which one he had.
I think he has the dice. And then that girl has the chess piece.
She has a chess piece. And they never really explain how theirs works. The only one they ever explain is...
Joseph Gordon-Levitt's is loaded.
Okay.
We just don't know to which side it's
right.
loaded.
Right. He just says it's loaded, and the chess piece has a certain weight and structure. And
yeah,
like
I
that.
mean it's hollowed out,
right?
So it's got a specific
right. But the one that we are given very, very specific details on is specifically the top.
Mm-hmm.
I love this.
So what's your problem with the top?
So my problem with the ending, and I guess I'll say it now, is
Yeah, we got time to kill, man.
that's true. There's a point where at the ending of the film, DiCaprio sees his kids and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they show the shot of him meeting whatever, and they pan down to the top.
Right.
Now at that point, the top doesn't matter to DiCaprio. He couldn't care less whether he's in a dream or not a dream, because he's seen his kids and he doesn't care anymore, which is fair. What is life but a dream? That whole Merrily thing. So
Sure.
the top is purely for us, the audience. It's for us, the audience, to know whether we're in a dream or not. Now, if it didn't matter to the character DiCaprio, why would he bother spinning it? Yes, I get it. Sometimes a nervous tick, and sometimes you do things. But, he saw his kid and was like, it didn't matter. He could have had the top not spinning. Just, there on the ground, not spinning. Still with the audience in a was it a dream or not a dream? And been like, well, does it matter? It doesn't matter to DiCaprio because his life. But instead, they had it spinning.
Mm-hmm.
And they pan down, and it keeps spinning, and it keeps spinning. And then it cuts to black. And the thing is that when I watched the film the first time, and I'm sitting in the theater with my friends, and they do that shot, my brain goes, motherfucker's going to fade to black. Motherfucker's going to cut to black, and he's not going to show it. Motherfucker's going to do this because that's what he's fucking... Because I had heard a warning in a review of, like, the ending shot some bullshit for some people. And I'm like, motherfucker's going to cut to black, isn't he? And he cuts black, I fucking knew it. And I remember in the audience, someone said, oh, come on. It was the funniest thing ever. And it's the only issue I have with the movie. It wasn't enough to bring it down from any kind of rating or anything like that, because it was still a fucking phenomenal film, and everything else was fucking phenomenal at that point. It's just I got a little mad because I'm like, the character wouldn't care. Why, I understand. Why should the audience have to suffer? Just leave it ambiguous because the character doesn't give a shit.
Well, I went into it not knowing that anything was gonna happen, and as soon as they cut out, I was like, oh my god, that's hilarious. I fucking love that.
Oh man, I hate it.
The brilliance of it is that the spinning top is all a red herring. Like that doesn't matter at all. That's not his totem. That's his wife's totem.
That's a good point.
They say that at the beginning. Like that's Mal's totem.
That's a good fucking point. And you're absolutely right.
It's especially funny because all of the totems in dream sequences act unnaturally, right? The dice wouldn't land where it's supposed to. The thing wouldn't do whatever. But with the spinning top, in dreams, they spin forever, which, like, if you were in somebody else's dream, that top would not spin forever. They understand the physics of the top.
That's a good point. I never thought of it that way.
So it, like, theoretically should never spin forever, but, whatever. So the thing is that, like, his wedding ring is his totem.
Right. But then to argue that same accord, then to argue that, I guess you would never know how it's loaded, so you wouldn't know how it's supposed to land. I guess that's the case between the totem and things like that. I guess it's a good point. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, and so like all of that is just misdirection, which I found like super funny.
Interesting.
Yeah.
See, I always figured, I still figured, maybe I still believe it is our way of the audience to know whether or not we're in a dream or not. Because there's a scene coming up where it's when they're testing the different types of serums and shit to get deeper and deeper into dreamland.
Mm-hmm.
And they test one at one point. DiCaprio gets out of it, spins the top so he's in real, can't complete the spin, and pukes.
Right.
And I always felt that was the most real shot. That was one of the few times that we're definitely not in a dream. We're definitely in the real world, so to speak, whatever that means, just because of how violent that scene is, and graphically and mentally, and because he couldn't get it off, that was his thing. That was the shot. I never thought of it, the idea of that being a red herring, and sort of misdirection in that. I always just felt it was, and maybe that's true. Again, when it came to the ending, it wasn't enough for me to like like I didn't hate the movie. Like I could not hate the movie. Like that would have been a silly reason to hate a film. Like it wasn't even enough to go from like if to use the spill rating of the time, it went from a not full price. It went from a I forget what the upper kicker was. It was some old bullshit and not fuck you, take my money, something like that. Better than sex. It went from like a high better than sex to a medium better than sex. It's still a 5 out of 4, a 5 out of 4 stars if I have to use the parlance of spill. It was a phenomenal film, and I still thought I was like that didn't even piss me off, but that wasn't enough to like pull the rating out because this is still an excellent movie. It's one of those films that I adored the way it was shot. I adored the way it was acted. I thought, the sound was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
There's some as we get further on, like once they get into like the deep sequences, especially when we see the layers of the dreams.
Right.
Like I love how when the van is flying, the world starts to float in that other dream.
Yeah.
And then I love that way that they shot it, and they kind of kept dreams, solid. And that when they brought somebody into a dream, that when they got shot and hurt, and they went deeper in the dream, he wasn't hurt because he couldn't feel it. Like I love the way they had this logic going on. It was really, really cool. And it was really fun how they did all the stuff. Like it's really, really amazing.
Yeah, and even before I thought about the red herring stuff, before I'd read any theories about that or whatever. Like
you read theories. I see. You've already been tainted. I'm kidding.
Yeah. But I've also read theories about people who think the entire movie is in a dream, which was kind of an interesting read.
Yeah, and I've heard that one too.
Which is funny just because, filmmaking techniques like cutting between scenes is totally dreamlike.
Yeah.
In a sense. But like I love that ending in just how like aggressively in your face it is with how ambiguous it seems to be. I really enjoyed that.
Oh yeah.
And I'm really glad that Ellen Page got this role.
That too,
because I feel like had she not gotten this, I mean, she's been doing a lot of stuff, especially in the indie scene. But had she not gotten this, like I think it would have been a steeper uphill climb for her career.
Yeah, because like what other films had she done prior to this?
She did Juno.
Oh, yes, I thought. Okay, so Juno came before this. That's what I remember.
That was like her.
That was her breakout
one.
role. Yeah, I remember that was a big role for her.
She did Super, but I think that came out after this. Maybe.
Okay, because I remember like Juno had been done with this, then Ellen. Okay, because that's why.
Super?
I think I have to check, but that I just couldn't remember whether or not.
I know Rainn Wilson was in Super.
Right. But like even right now, not knowing in a dream, like I love this whole talk about
this scene is so dope.
Yeah,
it's so great because it plays it so like straight.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, well, yeah, all right, they're at a cafe. They're still learning about stuff.
Yep.
Just chilling.
Because, you can't... And that's what I think about what I like about this movie a lot, is that a lot of times they'll play a lot of scenes very straight and then, pull the rug right underneath you.
And force you to, like, recontextualize the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, especially that, like, one of my other scenes when they're starting to do the architecture, if you will... Mm-hmm. And they showed the staircase scene where they showed the not working staircase kind of thing, which is very Escher-like, and I dug that way that they did it.
Yeah, that was cool.
Like here he goes, and then he realizes that they're in a dream. And
it's really funny because like a lot of movies have to set up rules and establish things. But this is like such an entertaining way to do it.
Yeah. Well, because like she's nervous now, and the idea of this shot right here is so fucking amazing CG.
Yeah.
Like I remember when this was part of the trailer, and this was insane.
Mm-hmm. And it's a mix of CG
and practical, of course, much like every good shot is.
But yeah, it's so good.
Oh no, it was because it was in slow-mo. It was, everything around, like it was so amazing when they had this in the trailer. It's like, holy shit, what the? Because again, you know, I would never. That's why the military developed dream share. Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
Oh man, we're starting to fall into the movie again.
God, it's so good.
And I like how what I like about the film a lot too is that they really set up the universe, because they say the idea of, you know, your mind goes slower in time, and then, you know, because they put that there, one more layer deeper is now one more, you know, slow tick, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like if 5 minutes is up here, an hour is here, and then deeper is a day. And like I really like how they set that a lot up. Like that's the one thing I really dig, is that it really goes into the concept of sleep. Like even on the Blu-ray, if you want to watch one of the really cool extra features, I think there's an extra feature on like the science of sleep that like Joseph Gordon-Levitt directed or something like that, or shot. It's a really cool little micro doc, for lack of better words.
Yeah, it's great how like, you know, it doesn't just hit on a story front. Like the mechanics behind it are actually pretty.
And this is
interesting
also a great shot right here,
and totally feasible. Yeah, this is a really neat shot.
where they essentially roll the world. You know, again, this is also part of the trailer too.
Mm-hmm.
There's just there's so many things and so many shots that were just amazeballs, because, you know, you didn't know what because again, the trailers never really go out and say you're in a dream sequence. They're just sort of these images and things like that, and they never are explained.
Right.
And I love how you know, Ellen Page is so receptive to it, you know.
Yes.
Because it just seems so natural to her. Oh man, that's so amazing.
That shot always struck me as a little weird.
The
Just
walking up.
The walking up, yeah.
Oh, of course, it's got to.
I feel
yeah.
like that single shot is the weakest point of this entire movie. Just that one little shot.
Yeah. Two, I love the idea. I love the idea of the fact that the more they're not gonna attack us, just you. I love the idea again of the mind knowing all this stuff. You know, that the idea of the subconscious destroying her and things that, you know. I dig a lot. Yeah. I dig a lot of the mythos.
Yeah, it's a really good way of differentiating it from the actual real world to the viewer.
Yep.
You know, it gives you a different set of rules in which they're acting in.
Yeah.
Which I think is important. Because if it was just like, oh, this is just like normal life, except we can do crazy stuff, then I think it would have been a lot harder to keep track of what's what.
Well, because it really explains... Oh, God damn it. It really explains the whole... It really explains the whole idea of the... You know, because, like, in this movie, a lot of times we have the heist concepts and stuff like that. And so it really explains why it's important to make a real world. To make a real-looking thing and to make it seem like it's a world that is real each time, as opposed to a dream. Because you can, you know, if you and I were lucid dreaming, for example, we might try something we've never tried before. Mm-hmm. We might do something insane. We might, you know, try
no pants.
You know, no pants, dating that girl, whatever.
I've gone no pants in lucid dreams before. It's a really liberating experience.
I can't name the amount of times I've had no pants in a dream, but I mean, well, we might try something and you know that we can't try in the real world.
Sure.
Whereas within this idea, because they have to sort of keep their subconscious. The subconscious has to keep him in check and destroy the agent. That kind of stuff has to. Everything has to be correct. And it's very cool. It's very cool that that's the world. That's what they have to do. And I like that there's that mythos, because ultimately, if it had just been like, well, we have the ability to share dreams, whatever. But because they set up all these different barriers to and sort of rules to execution, it makes for a really interesting concept.
Yeah.
Because the idea that they explain the totems, they explain all of these different things that example what makes them unique, that kind of stuff. I always find the fact that's weird. I forget that it's his wife's totem.
Mm-hmm.
I forget that,
which is kind of funny because it's like it doesn't really matter to him whether he's in a dream or not. I mean, he kind of tries to keep some sense of place, but at the end of the day, I think that just acts as kind of a reminder of his wife more than anything.
And again, that's why I always felt like in the movie, for me, that it was more of a position for the audience and less for the character. It was it was more of a narrative piece of equipment versus anything else. But I can see the misdirection now after talking about it. But what I do dig about this movie, like I said, once we start getting to the point of construction, if you will, that's a fun one.
The score in this scene is really cool. The really percussive drum sequence.
Yeah.
During the chase, I really enjoy that. And also, like, how cool of a character is Mal?
Yes.
Like, that is such a fascinating idea.
Yep.
It's really, really cool.
Well, because again, just so I make sure in my head, because I forget the character's name. Mal is DiCaprio, right? Or is Mal the
it's his wife.
It's his wife. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
DiCaprio is cop.
Okay, that's what I'm banking on the name. That's sort of why. But I remember, because the thing is, what I love about DiCaprio's character's wife, Mal, what I love about her is, A, she completely loses it, and B, DiCaprio feels guilty to the point where it infects his brain, and it's this sort of wild card element that can come out at any point in time and almost screw shit up just because it's part of his subconscious. What I also dig about it a lot is that it's such a strong part is that it'll come up in other areas, other people's subconscious, because it's that strong of an echo, if that makes any sense. And I really, really like that a lot, because it's I always found it weird just because the way it works, but once you kind of explain how it gets there, it's interesting. But it's the idea that he has to keep that shit in check, like, so crazily, that he has that. What I would have loved to have happen now, watching it a second time, and only because it'd be kind of funny, if he had put hints of it being one way or the other, like whether it's a dream or not, like, maybe somewhere in like a very small shot in the corner, Mal's there drinking a cup of coffee.
Yeah,
that would be amazing.
Maybe if you were able to do it subtly enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the whole Fight Club Tyler Durden thing.
Yeah,
like, there's apparently one day when we do that commentary, we'll talk about it then. But there's the whole idea that no one looks at Tyler when the shots are there and things like that.
But I think he does do some really subtle stuff with the ring.
Yeah,
because I think he's not wearing it during scenes that he's not dreaming, and he is wearing it in scenes that he is dreaming.
Really?
Or maybe it's the other way around.
Interesting. I did not know that.
But I think there is a distinction in when he is and isn't wearing
audience members, you may have to tell us in the commentary, the comments here in this episode, and let us know, because that's an interesting thing, because that would be a fun kind of, watching of the movie, looking for those kind of things, because Christopher Nolan's the kind of director that would hide that kind of stuff, and it would mean something. Everything in this movie means something. To a certain degree, because he's a competent director, one, but a very skilled director, two, and number three, he is that director that he is a director that would definitely have all that. This is great.
This kind of looks like the place where they shot Naked Lunch. Did you ever see that movie?
No, I did not. I've heard about it.
Weird movie.
I've heard about it.
It's such a weird movie.
What I like the fact about that scene would have been DiCaprio hiding out in a fucking in like this scene right here. Like I love the idea of DiCaprio hiding out in like a cafe filled with Africans and he's the only white guy among a sea of like black guys. He's trying to hide out there. Not a bad way to DiCaprio, but just that always struck me as silly.
And man, if he had just kept quiet, they would have never had any idea.
Yeah, that's exactly. They would have like he went somewhere. Oh man, there's just so many. Yeah, DiCaprio gets out. He just can't catch a break. Ken Watanabe. I fucking love Ken Watanabe. He may be my favorite part of this entire movie.
Really?
Well, because I love the interaction between him and or Saito and Cal's character or Cal. Whenever Ken and Leo are on the screen, I love their interaction, especially near the end when things get a little bit more real.
Yeah.
This is the scene I love. I love this right here. And then it becomes apparent.
And then the payoff for this later on, like during that dream sequence, is so cool.
Yeah.
God, everything about this movie is just like, man, why don't I make shit that's like really cool? Like, I don't know. There's just something.
Well, like, what would you? Let's say that you were able. Because here's the thing. Let's say this to you, Brent. You're given the ability to write a movie within this universe of Inception. Because obviously the universe of Inception is a universe where we can share dreams.
Yeah.
Within that. Oh, here it is. Whole thing. See, this is what makes me believe. Okay, that's right. Let's say you're in the universe of Inception, where you're able to now, because obviously in the movie Inception, we tend to follow criminals, that utilize the ability to share dreams to steal corporate information or seed corporate doubt or whatever. They have clients that pay a shit ton of money to say, I want you to get into the brain of the CEO and tell him he's a bad boy or something.
I'm just thinking right now about somebody trying to incept Reggie over at Nintendo.
Reggie Fils-Aimé.
Yeah. Just like what kind of fucked up stuff is he dreaming about?
You want to know what I would want to like? Oh God, there's so many more useful things. I would like fuck Reggie. I want to go in the brain of speaking of Nintendo, a fucking Miyamoto. That would be a fucking dream.
Yeah.
Just to learn what fucked up crazy shit's going in his head because this is the motherfucker that made Mario. But okay, so anyways, you are able to make a movie in the Inception world. Like, what kind of film would you do in that world?
I mean, that's something that would take me weeks of soul searching to realize what I would want to do.
Well, because that's the thing is that I think I would end up doing a very different movie because I'm not the biggest action person, but B, because if given a world to have, a world that I could, sort of share dreams, it doesn't matter. I dig this a lot of people that just are, fucking just all connected.
Well, movies like this are difficult for me because, like it's kind of scary doing serious stuff because you're asking the audience to invest so much in the film and to be taken on this journey with you, and they really have to kind of buy into it. Whereas if you do, like Scam School and stuff, and all my short films and stuff, like usually it kind of leans towards irreverent, kind of humorous stuff, just because it's quicker pace and like you can kind of get the attention pretty quickly without much happening.
Yeah.
It's just it's a very tricky thing doing these more serious things. Although I've always wanted to do some narrative work that was a bit more serious, kind of in this vein.
Well, again, what made this movie interesting was, again, just the way that it, the way it did things. It's such a hard, I mean, the movie itself is so fucking hard to think. Like, here is the scene I was talking about, I think. No, this is the first, I don't know if this is the one where he starts to want to puke. Yeah, this is the one right here. This is the scene I was talking about. That's, I think, is the most real scene in the film. He tries to grab the top, tries to spin it. It falls, and I think he's about to puke.
No, I don't think he pukes.
Maybe not pukes, but I know he's definitely like unstable after all that.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the thing, is that the idea of that the top is a calming thing, and it just all that stuff. There's a lot of really cool stuff in the movie, but yeah, I think if I were to do a movie like that, it would definitely be more grounded in an entirely different kind of film, because like after a while, it almost feels at times like it makes sense to have that kind of dream sequence, but almost like that snow area where they do the whole like military thing.
Right. Yeah.
It almost feels like they had that there as an excuse to do action.
Yeah, I can see that. I like that is the.
And it's a great shot. It's a great fucking scene. Don't get me wrong. It's a great set piece and a great part. But it's just like, man, we had just got done with a lot of these other non-things. But I guess it has to be, because ultimately, you can't do this movie and get people that wouldn't be interested in this movie to watch it unless there's a little there's a little something in terms of action. Because like if we made the whole like serious, what is dreaming, what is not dreaming kind of storyline as the really main plot thread, I don't think we would have been successful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like earlier I joked about the walking up the wall being the weakest point of the film. But I think in actuality, the snow sequence was the weakest point of the film. It's kind of this thing where, like the payoff with what's his face's father, like that's great.
Yeah.
But all of the stuff like getting into the fortress and all that shit, like that is like conceptually sort of the weakest. They're just like, we're running out of time. Let's just get in. And then it's like, oh, there's this labyrinth, but we don't have time, so just kind of skip past it all. Like, there's direct access stuff. And I kind of get that. Like, I wouldn't want to spend a ton of time there.
Yeah.
Out of anywhere in the film, but I think that is where the film suffers the most, in just like it's like, okay, yeah, like we're kind of going through the motions in this one specific area.
Yeah.
And it's also just like, even though it is visually kind of striking, all the snow, I think it is less resonant.
Well, because it feels very much like a generic action piece.
Sure.
Not a bad action scene. It's still a greatly done, greatly choreographed action scene. But in this movie where you have the ability to, do anything within a dream, the only reason you do it is because, like, we're got to break into something, and it's just like, okay, well, great, you're doing an action scene. Because, again, and I get it, because that movie could not, this is a very hard movie to sell to a normal audience.
Yeah, and also, it's also so tough because that snow sequence comes right after that insanely electric, like, no gravity.
Yes.
Insanity that's just like so captivating, and you're fully engulfed in it in your mind, and then it's like, oh yeah, there's snow. Well, I guess that's kind of interesting. Sure.
By the way, did you notice that Ken's character was already sleeping earlier in the scene?
No, I wasn't paying attention.
I saw it just at the corner of my eye. I love the chess piece. And by the way, that is a bishop.
Yep.
I always kind of hoped that Ellen Page's character and DiCaprio's character hooked up in the film. And I don't know why.
Strange. I'm totally on board with rooting for the Ellen Page, Joseph Gordon-Levitt that they set up.
Well, because what I loved about it with this was because, you know, she explains the whole totem thing. There's a point where I think they share the dream together, and that's what it is, a trick that I liked about it.
Yeah, well, yeah, she kind of hijacks her way into his dream.
I fucking love this. I love the idea of like this projection exists.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a really interesting exploration of dealing with guilt and heartbreak and dealing with loss, and
well, because like it's
and trying to find some kind of
well, because imagine if your wife died because she still thought she was in a dream because you had just got done having the most intense dream with her
for like 40, 60 years or something.
Yes. Like, it's crazy, all that.
Yeah, it would be a lot to digest, I'm sure.
And, so when it came to that whole thing, it's crazy. I love the idea behind this. I love, again, the idea that they're trying to find all these like, it's such a cool concept of doing a heist, because ultimately they're doing a heist. They're going in there, they're doing like the ultimate con.
A high concept mind heist.
It's insane. It's like, it's fucking Ocean's 11 meets, I don't even know what other movie. Maybe that's what should happen. We should have pitched this movie. Because I'm glad, again, this movie did great because I think this movie did great because of the name Christopher Nolan. Not because, I'm saying it's a great film, but I'm saying that gave it like the leg up it needed.
It definitely helped.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Because if this, and again, not because it's Christopher Nolan, Memento Christopher Nolan, but it's Dark Knight and Batman Begins Christopher Nolan at this point, or at least Batman Begins.
Yeah,
and that was enough again to kick
this
everything.
Looks kind of like the street where they did that scene with the Joker. Like they did the footage there.
This
like
is also
the
this is also what I like too, is that they are essentially they're doing they are going into the world and they're actually going into
I have that magnifying glass.
You do?
Yeah, at home.
That's amazing. What I dig about that right then when they go into her dream world is that they did it like you would, like they cased the area. If that makes any sense. Like they walked around and they figured out their, like, again, like a fucking heist would be done.
Yeah,
and it's such an interesting way to do it.
Also, I really love the lighting on this set, like those square fluorescent lights.
Yeah,
those tubes. I think that's a really interesting, unique lighting solution.
Well, even then, a lot of the sets in this movie are very unique and such. I mean, because that's the one advantage the movie has when it comes to all the different dreams and stuff like that, is because they can go between different
Their rivalry's really fun.
That's true. That's the clever part.
It's also kind of funny that Joseph Gordon-Levitt in 500 Days of Summer was an architect.
Yeah.
And then he comes into here where architecture plays another big role.
This is awesome. I love the idea. I love the idea that Saito has like all this, everything he has figured it out. Like he's like, no, we'll do this flight from here to here. It just happens to be 10 hours. Speaking of flights, that's amazing. It's so amazing that he has all this stuff.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, what is the longest flight you've ever been a part of?
Oh, I mean, it would have. I've like single flights probably 3 to 4 hours, something like that. But I mean, as far as like back-to-back flights, I mean, all day.
I've flown to France, and that's like an 8-hour flight.
That sounds like it sucks.
It isn't. The best part of that flight is that there's movies. I think actually, what's funny, airplanes is where I tend to watch movies I would have no interest in ever seeing. And then turns out I'd like them after all. Like one of the movies I watched was Strangers in Fiction. Was in.
I love that movie.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
I thought I did, but I didn't know. At the point in time, it wasn't something I thought was good or bad.
It's very much like Ruby Sparks, which
Yep.
we should also watch
We should,
because that's a super cool film.
and I also dig this too. The idea of him of the elevators and stuff like that. And him going deeper and deeper into his subconscious and her doing that. Yeah, eventually she like DiCaprio is aware of her, right?
Yeah. In just a minute, she kind of steps out, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a really
Here it
interesting exploration of, like, I had a thought, and then I lost it.
What I like about this for sure is the whole DiCaprio. Again, I love the metaphor of the elevator going deeper and deeper in the subconscious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's cool that he's, after he's lost her, and he's feeling this whole mix of stuff. He almost has this unhealthy cling to her in such a way that he's really trying to hold on to something that no longer exists.
Well, it's because at this point,
like the emotional attachment is totally understandable, but he's so wrapped up in like all of this guilt and stuff that he's trying to preserve what we find out later on is a fundamentally flawed image of her. And I think that's an amazing turning point to where he realizes that, like, yeah, look, you're great, and you look just like my wife looked, and you act kind of like how my wife acted, and you sound just like how my wife sounded.
Yeah.
But really, you can't even, like, there is so much missing in just what I remember that.
That's the point.
You are such a flawed impersonation.
Well, because she will never be real.
Right.
There's no way she can ever be the real thing. Not because she's not real. Because she's not real. She's a dream. She's a projection. She's, when it comes to certain people, sometimes you remember, you remember things. You might remember somebody as some way. You might have a vision of something, but it might not be the person you think that they were, and you're not really, you might be projecting a certain thing on them because of who they are.
Right.
You might remember, if your mother, you might remember your mother a certain way, but your mother's not like that, or something like that. Mm-hmm. And again, I dig a lot of stuff, all the things that are happening, especially because he's going through all these memories and things like that. And one of my favorite one of my favorite things is because they keep going deeper and deeper and deeper into the whole thing, and they learn a lot of the stuff. And what I dig about this scene a lot is the fact that we get a lot of the emotion of the scene, and we get a lot of what the history is.
Yeah, and this is also just another one of those super cool ways that they are able to deliver a lot of exposition in a super visually fascinating way. and just conceptually interesting way to tell a story. You know?
And I love how Ellen Page's character needs to see a lot of this stuff. I've always wondered why she needs to see a lot of this stuff. Like what her reasoning for this is.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I understand she's worried because like it's gonna fuck shit up.
Yeah.
But like she makes it very much an effort to see it all, and she doesn't talk about it with the others.
No, she talks about it a little bit with Cobb.
Yeah,
where she's like, like I think, she sees a certain intimacy in sharing dreams. Like that's a very personal thing,
right?
And so I think that she sees this potential threat, this kind of dangerous instability. She's like, if we are going to share dreams, like I need to know what I'm in for, right?
And that's why I'll be honest. That's why I always viewed as that she was that she and Cobb should have hooked up in a weird way. Because again, she makes Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Leo have been friends forever, and he never made the deep leap. Whereas Ellen Page's character has to does it right off the bat. And it's the fact that we have the crazy, the whole crazy thing going on.
What's that actress's name? Marion Cotillard?
Something like that. I'm gonna have to look it up.
She's really great.
Oh no! The thing is, that's also something I should say. Everybody in this movie is fucking great.
Yeah,
there's not a bad actor among them. And what I dig about that is that that's the basement. That's where his guilt lies.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the deepest of his subconscious, or almost in the deepest of parts of his soul.
Yeah,
like that's what's interesting about the movie is that
that lighting,
that scene. I'm now just waiting because we're right now coming to the fucking action sequence.
Stop
part.
waiting, Roberto. Live in the moment.
Well, because we're coming to the point where it's gonna be the.
Let's admire this lighting.
Let's admire the plane that might not be in that shot.
Yeah, I mean that's some good B-roll.
Roll that beautiful B-roll. No one ever says that.
No, why would you say that?
I don't know. I've always wanted to make a movie.
Look at that anamorphic boke. That's what I'm talking about.
I always wanted to make a movie purely of B-roll. By the way, what first fucking class flight has planes set up like this?
Really?
No. I have been on a 747. There is no fucking first class that has it set up like this.
I don't know, man. Dude bought the airliner. Maybe they're flying on. I mean,
that's true.
These guys are some influential dudes. Maybe they got some special luxury 747.
Maybe, but it's amazing.
Although those seats do look kind of insane.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Just seeing what's his face back there, all reclined out.
Exactly. Like no one's like, like there is no way. I love. Because what's cool about this whole thing is just like there is a bit of a. There's a whole. What I like about it is that there's so much. There's
so much.
Because like right now, like this is like the con to lead into another con, and even when we get in the brain, that he has defenses for this shit. Like again, the idea that the world has to have these things, because of it. Like he, like right then and there, he did the whole, opening, thing.
Opening thing.
I mean the opening con part. Like he palmed the pre-sedative, if you will.
Yeah, he set up the dominoes.
Yeah, exactly. And it's
so to speak.
Right. It's such a weird, now he's like, guys, come on. because it's his airplane, they can do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah.
Like, again, the idea, the way it's all set up, every kicker that kicks in is just so insane and so bizarre.
How did you get that through TSA? The Dream Machine.
Dude, that
had to have raised some red flags.
Babe, look, this is his airplane. You're the one that was like, I'm the one questioning the chairs, and you're like, I mean, look at this fucking setup. Look at this fucking setup. There's no fucking way this would be the case. You know?
You don't know, man. You don't know.
You don't know. And then,
This is a pretty funny gag.
Which gag is this again?
He shouldn't have drank so much wine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god, and the train through the city? Oh, it's so cool.
Oh, yeah.
And that shot? Oh, these street shots are so nice. So nice.
The idea behind this whole dream. I love they still have to steal a taxi in a dream. My favorite idea still is the whole concept of the dream within the dream, and how they have to have the machine to have the dream within the dream. You know.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have to do this sort of stuff. I can't wait till security. I can't wait till the brain security starts coming in, because it's such a weird concept to me.
Yes, the train.
Oh, that's right. Well, again, the idea behind it is just this, that there's such these weird mechanics in the world, that force him to think, like I would like like in a world where this is possible, like that becomes training, to have the stuff. I'm right now thinking about. I'm right now trying to process all this stuff and try to figure out how to contextualize it, because it's such a bizarre world. But that would make that would make sense to have these, like, well, if corporate espionage has shared dream stealing, like, you would train your CEOs and your higher execs.
Yeah, totally.
That kind of defense. And just the idea of, like, how that training would go into, like, how would you go about even doing that kind of training? I'm wondering.
I mean, practice.
Yeah, I guess. But like, would you?
They would probably take you under, and then you would have.
Because the thing is, like, the trick with it is that he's not aware that these things exist. That, like, him in a dream is not aware that his subconscious is able to do this. Where there's forces that are protecting things. So it's not on an active level where the guy is thinking about this, because he still thinks he's he still thinks he's real, and such.
Well, it's probably a thing where you like they'd say, okay, we're gonna do some training today, and then they open up the dream machine. They have a specific correspondent that goes into the dream with them, and then they do the thing that Cobb does in the dream, where he says, hey, look, don't freak out, but you're in a dream right now.
Yeah.
All right. And then they kind of set it up. They start training. And so it's kind of a repeated process that happens subconsciously. So that way, during everyday situations, your subconscious is working on that level, but it really would only kick in if you were dreaming. So that way you don't have to know whether you're dreaming or not.
I love that the idea that his projections are military trained. I love that idea. I love the idea of the world having that.
Oh. classic cop.
And this is great too. Unconstructed dream space. Raw, infinite subconscious. Nothing is done there except for what?
So what do you think about the concept of limbo?
Limbo as in like a religious term, or limbo as in like this world here?
As in this world here.
I don't understand it because it never made sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because the idea of this raw, infinite, like, I get the idea of being too deeply under of a sleep, but the idea that, you know, if you get killed, you'll never ever wake up, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
Like, after a certain point, like, your body would you know, say, to hell with you, we're tired of not moving, you know. Your brain would you know, would also do the whole same thing, I'd imagine. You know, there's something within there that says otherwise, you know.
I think it is a little silly. And if you think about it too hard, it might be a little hard to swallow.
That's what the thing is, yeah.
But I you know, it's so important because, you know, you have to have stakes during this.
Yes.
You can't just be like, well, nothing matters. If you die,
exactly,
then you just wake up.
Exactly. But it almost feels like, and I think that's where sometimes the movie breaks apart. Again, that's not to say, again, this does not detract from the awesome movie. But it kind of frays at the edges, especially with that, because, you know, the idea of like, but, you know, we've never had those stakes before, but we have them now because this is serious.
Yeah, I think, you know, there's honestly probably a way that they could have integrated it in such a way where it's like they could have elaborated that mechanic a little bit more, in that maybe it's I do like the idea of getting, like, reflecting so deep inside your mind that you get lost and you can't find your way out. Yeah, and almost in a comatose state. But I think to the lengths that they would have had to have gone to make that fully fleshed out and realized, like, it would not have paid off in any way to go into that any deeper in the film.
Yeah. Again, I love the idea that they have, I know, fake IDs and fake stuff. Like, this is such a hard thing, you know, when it comes to this world. You know, like, I would never.
It's a really cool shot.
Oh yeah,
where half the mirrors he's one guy and half the mirrors he's another.
Oh shit! I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, it's really cool. I think they do something with that similarly later on when they're in the elevator.
Yeah.
And his reflection is himself, but he looks like somebody else.
And again, there's so many things in this movie. Like, once we go deep, you know, one layer deeper, that's one thing, because I think it also more interesting because, like, I love, there's when the scene comes up when DiCaprio says, like, you're dreaming, and to calm down his projections so that they're not a ride about him, and that he is the foreign thing, and like, he's the foreign thing, but the projection's like, okay, well, I guess he's cooled by our boss, so it's all good.
Yeah, that's a really clever conceit.
That's why there's a lot of those clever conceits in this movie, and I think that's what I dig about the world I'm in. That's so amazing. What's great is that, like, that we don't get a whole lot of time, you know. Just
what do you mean?
Because like we're right now in a scene where we're trying to milk information from, you know, the guy, but we're like learning also a lot about his life and getting a little bit of exposition on it. Like I said, I'm just if we want to remember.
So, I'm trying to think structurally. So the first dream is is laying out, setting up a foundation of, hey, we're looking for this information. The second layer is, hey, we need your help to find this information. And the third layer is, we have this information.
Yeah.
So I think in that context, the third act of the dream works a little bit better for me. But I still think there's problems with the execution a little bit.
Well, again, it's because what it is it almost feels like...
But I think recontextualizing it like that, like it gives that portion of the dream a little bit more meaning.
No. It definitely feels like that's the sequence you do. I mean, I'll put it this way. There are many ways to do that sort of sequence, and I get that the reason why it's set up that way is because we're fighting his militarized subconscious, and that's the reason why. And maybe, and it makes sense, but my brain goes, I understand what you're doing on that level, and it's cool. But I really know, honestly, you're doing this because this concept of a film is very, very, very hard to explain to the Christopher Nolan fan that loved, Batman as an action film. I mean, and they're good films. They're not bad films. They're great comic films. They're great films in general. But when it comes to this kind of movie, the reason why it was why people were so scared about it was not because it was a unique IP, that's one, but it's a unique IP that's very expensive and it's very, very higher level thinking. I mean, we're talking about dream sequences and shared dreams and that kind of science fiction thing. But by giving it a little bit, appropriate enough, and I'm okay with it in the end of it all, giving just a little bit of action, that's enough to kind of understand things, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely, people were weary because it's a smart movie, and and that's always tough to sell on a lot of people.
Which is a sad fucking state of affairs. But Hollywood's Hollywood, and I'm gonna be honest in terms of that. But that's what I dug about this fucking film was how fucking smart it was, and how fucking much it had everything set up. And things like that.
But like, I don't think that third sequence was. I think a very, 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 very small amount of the planning in that sequence went to appealing to the masses. Like, I don't think that played into a big role. I think it was sort of an escalation of things that was probably necessary. Although the action in the second dream, I feel, is more than enough to sell the movie to your standard people. When you see people fighting down that hallway, like that scene alone, that shot sells the movie. That one shot.
See, for me, this is the one shot. This is the sequence that sells the movie for me, was this whole...
Well, I'm just talking about in advertising. Because when I saw that one shot, I was like, I'm seeing this movie and it's going to rock my world.
Oh, yeah. Here it is, and Limbo became a reality. I love... This is like this is what the freaky part was. This whole thing right here. That the world that they live in, because, and I guess it's a question. I guess if, if you think about the smaller thing, The smaller thing, in this small scale is us, when we wake up, we're like, did we have a dream? Like, oh shit, that was all a dream. This would be like the deeper part of that, where you just like, and I like the idea. I really dug the idea of what would happen if you lived an entire lifetime in a dream when you woke up.
Sorry, can you repeat the last bit?
I realized I trailed off into it because I was talking about this whole idea, like right here in the scene of that. It's like, when we finally get the reveal of what Mal is, of what she is, and all this stuff, and where all these memories are, the realness comes out. And what I dug about this concept is that, what would happen to a person if they lived an entire lifetime in a dream? A lifetime. If you think of all your experience you've had up into your 22 or 20 some odd years in this world, my 30 some odd years in this world, what if you just woke up and it was all a dream?
Yeah, that'd be a trip, man.
That would not even be a trip, but like, let's say you woke up and you're 10 years old.
That would be weird, for sure.
Now let's multiply that and say you lived until you were an old man of 85, 90, and you woke up and you're 20.
That'd be kind of dope.
Or you wake, but the thing is that you had an entire lifetime of experience, and that world was so real that you wake up in what is, reality. That's the dream, and that was what I loved about this movie, because that's exactly what would happen to people if the idea that this isn't real, this is not the thing. The dream is what's real to me, and what that is. And it was so cool because I would like if it had been in the hands, I think, of another director, we might have had a shittier film. But because Nolan is such a great director in terms of stuff, like he was able to. I wonder who actually wrote the film. That's actually, I think, didn't his brother?
Christopher Nolan and his brother.
That's what I thought. The writing team of that one, which also they wrote The Dark Knights and that kind of stuff, I think, as well.
Man, I get so choked up during the scene, like every time. It's so powerful.
Let's just watch it then.
I don't want to watch it. I don't want to feel the feels.
The feels? Is that what it is? That's what you call it?
I don't want the feels, Roberto.
Zoom.
Oh,
splat. Squish.
You're the worst.
I thought you didn't want to feel the feels.
Yeah, well, I don't want whatever you are doing either.
Squish. I'm kidding. That's terrible. I said.
But yeah, you would definitely go through some crazy existential crisis stuff.
Oh God, yeah.
You go through a lot of depression.
Oh, I would lose it all. That's what I'm afraid of this world. I think because maybe that's what I want to see. I take it back. I think I know exactly a movie I'd make in this world now. I figured it out by the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And what I would do. I would do the comedy. I would do the raunchy geek comedy in this world.
You're going to have to sell me more on that.
Okay. So let's...
Because I'm not feeling it yet.
All right. Let's say we have... Let's take the typical storyline, because it's a typical storyline. Guy wants girl. Girl...
Right, Adam Sandler, Drew Barrymore.
Yes, Adam Sandler, Drew Barrymore.
Already got a hit on your hands.
Let's put it this way. Let's... You know what? Let's mash up two movies. Let's in fact take two Joseph Gordon-Levitt movies, two of your favorite movies.
Sure.
Let's mash up Inception and 500 Days of Summer.
All right.
What if at the end of 500 Days of Summer, it was all a dream, and it turns out that Joseph Gordon-Levitt had married Zooey Deschanel? Or what if?
I mean, that would undercut so much of what 500 Days of Summer did.
Or what if?
It would be like, hey, here's all this important shit. Just kidding.
Or even better.
All right.
What if that 500 Days of Summer is a dream for Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character in this movie?
Now you're talking.
Where that all that was happening in 500 Days of Summer was like the projection of his mind. He wakes up, God, that was a weird dream. What do we gotta do next, Leo? And then they go on the fucking caper and shit. Like that's the prequel to this movie. That all was a dream. He wakes up and they're like, all right, we're gonna take care of Saito right now. And then that's where it leads into them going to the J-rail train and things like that.
I mean, you would really have to workshop it a lot, but I think that has way more potential than your original idea.
Well, I just like, again, the thing is that having a world where you can project whatever you want in a dream makes for an interesting, mechanic. And ultimately, some people are not very. This is great.
This line. Hey, everybody, remember the trailer?
Yes.
When he said that, and then he shot the grenade launcher.
I love that he's dreaming a little bigger. I love that he dreams a grenade launcher and he dreams it's a
good line.
It's a great line. It's a great idea. I would, for example, dream probably weapons that don't exist, and that's my problem. Be like, you gotta dream a little bigger. What's that? A rail gun.
Yeah, like a little compact handheld railgun.
Yeah, something like that. Some like rail gun, laser
That'd be
pistol. Cool. A fucking whatever the fuck. Like that's my problem. Is I think I would dream that if I knew I was lucid dreaming. What's that? Lightsaber. Why do you have a lightsaber? Why not?
Because I'm Spider-Man.
Like I would totally get opted by a fucking projection. They'd fucking be like, "What the fuck is that?" I'd be dead. I'd be dead, and I'd be in limbo, and you would never hear from me again. That again, the idea of we're now a layer deeper. And that we got to go even one, we're still like, dream layer, and we got to go one more layer deeper, and it's all because this guy is driving, Like, I love the idea of this.
Yes, we're finally into the second layer. This is the best layer.
This is a good layer for sure.
Yeah, and then we get the van flipping, and then everything goes all sideways.
Yep.
Oh man, I'm so excited.
I love.
And then he pulls this ruse. Classic Leonardo.
Yep. Call me. Bitch.
Smooth.
Yep.
Mr. Charles.
That's so great.
Yep. There it is.
That's amazing.
He's like, no, Ken, we're in an elevator. What are you, dumb?
I love the idea of this.
Oh man, like that gravity shift, it's so incredible.
This is great. I'm the head of your security down here. And now he's starting to hurt. I love they have to go like 8 layers deep before he's useful. Did you ever wonder what would have happened if they had gone just one more layer deep?
If they had a serum stable enough for that?
Yeah, let's say they had a serum stable enough to go like 20 layers if they wanted to.
I mean, I feel like it would just get further and further abstracted and unreal.
That's exactly what it was.
down.
Like, at what point do we get to like the ridiculousness of a dream? Like, at what point? How many layers deep would it take before we get into
to the center of a Tootsie Pop?
Pop roll? Yes, until we get to the center Tootsie Pop roll dream. This is great too. The idea, like, what the fuck was that? What do you do? What do you dump? What's down there? I don't know.
Maybe not the best moment that to kind of signify like, oh, this moment is so great. Hey guys, I can't wait for you to see this bit. Yeah, he totally dumped the wallet, and that guy looked in the chute. Wasn't that amazing?
That wasn't my purpose. I just wanted to comment on it.
Okay.
Because we're coming again. We're right now coming to the end game. Like, the end game is all this stuff.
This is great.
Smooth.
Yeah.
That's why you wanted him to hook up.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, if 500 days is some. Oh, there it is.
Yep. Yeah. Now we get the slightly sideways stuff.
That's right. The shift in gravity. And this is real. You're in a dream.
So as you were saying,
So, okay, if 500 Days of Summer is Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character's movie, what is Leonardo DiCaprio's dream movie?
I mean, we all know the answer to this. It's Titanic.
Yes. Good call. That is exactly what he's dreaming.
Yep.
That is a prequel for this movie, is that he is dreaming that he is Jack, whatever the fuck his last name is in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
That whole movie happens, and it turns out that the whole Titanic crashing was him actually peeing himself.
Well, I mean, it ends with him
Drowning. That's a good point.
drowning, and then he gets washed ashore. So
Yeah, and he wakes up, and he's like, oh, shit, that was all a dream.
it's just part of Limbo.
That was a terrible dream. I dreamt I was in a shitty movie directed by by what's his face, Cameron.
So you didn't like Titanic?
I'm okay with Titanic. I really don't hate it, but I don't necessarily love it.
I've heard some pretty compelling arguments for it simultaneously being both the best and worst movie ever made.
It's got some great effects. I will not lie. It's got some great stuff, and as a set design, it's awesomely done. You know, and it's definitely done competently, very competently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's definitely some interesting stuff to that
Yeah.
film, and it has merit in its own right.
Yeah. Again, the idea that I love how he's like, if I just shoot myself, I'll get out.
Yeah, the idea of him working against himself
Yeah.
is super super neat.
They have you sedated, and if you pull a trigger, you may not wake up. What if, maybe that's what they should have done. Maybe the Empire will get split if we just put him in limbo and just let him fry his brain.
Hold on, I'm too distracted by the lighting.
I know.
Leo's face was lit on his left side, and what's his face facing across from the right side of his face was in shadow. So like,
Yeah.
there was some weird stuff. I'll just give the benefit of the doubt that it was simulating one of these overhead lights, and there was an overhead light by Leo and not by the other guy.
Makes sense.
But that was a little weird for me.
Okay.
Also, this is an immaculate bathroom.
Yes, it is, but this is very typical for high-end hotels. You'd be amazed how many high-end hotels have like really fucking clean bathrooms. All right, we've set up Leo's dream, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's dream. What is Ellen Page's dream?
Ellen Page.
This is again before she would. The idea being that she wakes up. I got to go to class for college now, and that's when she meets Leonardo DiCaprio's character. Like, every one of the characters has to have a movie that already exists of theirs that they wake up, and it can be a movie that's come out after this film because dreams are like that. Dreams don't benefit from time and things. Like I imagine Ken Watanabe woke up after being part of Godzilla because that's got to be the answer for everything. He's like, oh, Godzilla, that's right.
He just wakes up and he's like, why did I do that?
Exactly. Why did I have that dream? That was such a weird dream to have. I was talking with the guy from.
Man, I really should have talked more during that dream.
I was acting with the guy that was in Malcolm in the Middle. I think because at this point in time, Breaking Bad hadn't existed.
Yeah, I was hanging out with the dude who played Godzilla. That was weird.
Weird. Very strange. Yes, that's the movie he wakes up from. So yeah, Ellen Page, what movie is he waking up from? I don't know any other actors what other movies they've been in. That's sort of the hard part. That's sort of what I want to see because we're gonna basically because this sequence we already know what the fuck's gonna happen. Like we've talked about this action sequence so many goddamn times that we're just waiting to get we're just kind of waiting to get through it all, because it's such like we're waiting for certain effects almost.
So I think Ellen Page's dream is Beyond Two Souls.
The video game?
Yep.
That's awesome. Okay, I get behind that. That's pretty much a movie.
And she's just like, why did I spend so much time with Willem Dafoe?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a really subtle mechanic there as well. That first they were using a warped version of Fisher to inform that guy, and then they're using this stage of dream to see if what they have informed him is reflecting in his own personal projection.
Right.
A lot of smart stuff in this movie.
Yep. All right. So who plays the other kid, the Australian or British fucker character, the guy that dreams bigger? What's that actor's name? You had IMDb open on your phone.
Oh,
because the question is now, what fucking dream was he in? And I want to see what other movies he's been in. Because ultimately, like again, because like not because I don't want to talk about this, because like I'm right now at a point where, like I am honestly waiting for that safe sequence. I think right now, because I love that reveal, that payoff in the film when you get to there. And they open the door, and you realize it's not, because you've been thinking the safe as in, like, maybe there's going to be a document in there, maybe there's something else. But you open it up, and it's his father in the bed, and it's that scene we saw earlier. And I love that payoff so much in that scene.
Yeah.
Because everything else, kind of goes into it.
See, I'm just super excited for that hallway fight scene. That is the most visually impressive thing, like, ever to me.
Right. I love this. I love the idea that they go one more level deep. One more deep. And it's
and then the hints at Mal.
Yep. That she's gonna fuck things up. Here we are. We're in the snowland. I do like the fact that his subconscious is like armored as all hell.
Yeah, it's a cool idea.
Yeah.
It's just I feel like this bit here is a bit rushed.
Oh yeah. I mean, they have to because there's no other way. Like they have to, like this if this movie's like it's at the beginning 2 hours long and we're already at the fucking
You know what? I would be down for a 3-hour Inception movie. I'd be okay with that if if it was just a better execution,
This is here. I think this
pacing might be a little bit weird
Yeah.
if you did that though.
Hey, come back here. See, the thing is, what is like? I'm trying to figure out what he's doing at this point. Like, I forgot like what. I mean, I know what our driver is doing is trying to ignore these things, but I forgot what. Oh, I see. He's gonna take care of. Oh,
Yeah, right now JGL is just protecting the sleeping bodies.
That's true, because he's still got like so many subconscious to take care. Like, that's what's such a weird thing about this movie. He's got to like take care of all these different layers of security. Like, that's what's fascinating, is just like how many layers of security he has to take care of.
Oh, here comes the flip.
Yep. Oh shit.
Did you see any of the behind the scenes footage of them making this hallway?
No, I did not.
Because it like
I think I've.
The hallway rotates on a gimbal and stuff, and it's super impressive to see.
Does it actually rotate, like the whole thing?
Yeah, the whole
like they're rotating right now as we speak.
Oh
wow,
the whole set rotates.
Oh shit.
It's insane.
How do they? I guess these are stuntmen then at that point, or is that actually?
That's Joseph Gordon-Levitt, I believe.
Oh, wow.
For a lot of those shots, at least.
That's kind of amazing.
Yeah, like this whole bit here is. This is like the most interesting thing.
See, like again, this is,
me.
and that's the thing. These are the action sequences I like. Like this, I like. I dig this because it makes it.
It's like something you've never seen before.
That's the point. That this is the point that this is very much, it's like when we saw the bullet time in Matrix and things like
Right,
that.
yeah.
It was just, it's such a unique way of doing an action sequence that this is what I dug when we did this. But like when we're in the snow world, I don't care. Did you see that? No, of course you didn't. Why would you have saw such a silly thing?
Is that your accent?
No.
Your impersonation?
I don't even know. I forgot what he sounds like.
Let's get a little bit more of that.
Okay, then. We could do this.
All right, just the rest of the commentary.
Welcome to the
voice.
Snowland. We are now in the Alps. Yeah. I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing anymore. Okay. Let's now flip the script. Before this commentary, what would have been your dream sequence?
What do you mean?
Like, let's say that right now this is real life, but before all this, you had a dream to get to here. I don't even know if that makes any sense. Okay,
No.
maybe this is a bit better. Maybe this is a better train.
Okay.
What if let's say this. What is your worst nightmare dream that you've ever had that you can remember vividly?
It would have to be one of two.
Okay.
One was, I remember standing on a wooden pillar in a body of water with about 3 other people, and one of those people was my younger brother, who at the time was probably 6 or so, and he fell in, and I wasn't able to save him, and he drowned and died.
Oh man.
And that fucked me up. And there was like nothing I could do about it, and I was just really torn up about it. And that was like 10, 12 years ago or something.
Oh my god.
And so another one was, and this one's a little bit sillier, but I was younger when I had it. I remember, so this was in like, I want to say 2nd grade or something. I had this dream. I dreamt that I was an adult, and I had my breakfast, and I was all dressed up to go to work, and I went on my daily commute, only to find out that everybody on the planet was just walking skeletons.
Oh man.
And I was like, what is going on? And so I was going into work, and I was like super scared, but I had to go to work because it's my job, and everyone was skeletons. It was very scary.
Oh my god, that's freaky.
How about you?
Okay, so I have one dream that's my freakiest one. Then I have one dream that's my freakiest one, but for a different reason. So when I was younger, I don't even know how old I was, and this is my most vivid memory of any dreaming thing. I don't know what the term is called, but I had what I like to call a waking dream.
Okay.
I was a little kid, and I remember vividly being awake, but like being in that half state of awake and asleep to the point that I literally saw projections in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I saw like these like demon beast kind of
Sleep
dinosaur
paralysis?
things. What is it?
Was it sleep paralysis? Did you have that?
Maybe it was
Because a lot of people have that where they kind of wake up and their mind is still racing in that kind of dream-like state, but they can't move, and so they start like the pattern recognition part of their brain
it wasn't so
goes
much pattern recognition.
crazy.
It was that I literally saw projection. Like I had these dreams, my eyes were closed, and when I opened them up, I'd see the same projections there, like if they're holographic images. It was weird as all hell. It was the scariest thing, and I've always remembered that vividly, my brain being part of a dream. And being weird. My second weirdest moment in dreaming was, I think I basically was in the dream and I got shot. Like I got shot point blank range in the head. And I basically said to myself, this is what it feels like to die. This is what I feel. I guess I'm dead. This is it. This is the end. I go, I guess this is what it feels like dying. I go, and my brain, I go, well, I don't feel anything. I don't feel any pain. And my brain goes, that's because you're not dead, stupid. Wake up. And I woke up. It was the weirdest thing because I literally had the whole classic, if you ever played a first-person shooter, like you float away from your body and you kind of see it from an overhead view and you see the world act around you. And I remember saying, like, I don't feel any pain. It was just such a weird thing to have.
It's a great shot.
Yeah. Paradox.
Yeah.
Fuck you. I'm Batman. No, I'm kidding. That would be the next ticker part. Batman in it. This, see, here's that.
Yeah.
Yes. The fact that this doesn't affect the snow world, it like only affects it a little bit in like an avalanche. But like when it gets to the hotel is what I love, that part. Because all this is like still conventional, and I think that's what bugs me about this scene, is that we had such unconventional things in the other portions of the world that this conventional part really bums me out.
Yeah, there's definitely a surreal quality to the first two dreams, especially the second one.
Yeah.
That's kind of lacking in this.
But the payoff for sure, once we get there, it shows it for sure.
Yeah.
But like here, it's way, way too conventional, and it feels that way. And that's what bugs me.
Yeah, I think it would have been cool if they had managed to work in some way to have this area kind of start falling apart, kind of in the way that they show that Limbo is like unstable and structurally unsound.
Did we miss it?
What?
Oh, did they? Oh, wait, we finished up for the next. Oh. And I love this sequence. Like this is what's cool. Like them floating in there like that in like null space.
Yeah, this all looks really good too.
Yeah, that's why I was so fucking pissed. Cuz like this is so cool, but like here is there. And it felt so betrayed. Like I felt so betrayed every time I went in the sequence. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, but then also just a little bit of devil's advocate. If this had heightened up the surrealness, even from the second one, then going back and forth between the second and this might have been a little
I'll
little
give you
jarring.
That. Again, like what I am doing right now is but nitpicking. Like I am after watching this a second time, I am just not trying to find faults, but going like, do I like this scene as much as I like the other scenes kind of thing?
Sure.
Because we're at that, when you see that, like, those zero gravity shots, like, we had not seen those before in a film, like that kind of shot where you have this sort of, like, we had seen zero gravity stuff, this is before the world of what's that space movie?
Gravity?
Gravity, thank you.
Yeah.
This is before the world of Gravity, but again, the way it parallels those things, like this, like all these, like it's tense, and we're very tense because we have two different things going on. Like, we have the dream thing going on, and yes. I love the fight sequence because it's such an awesome choreograph.
Yeah.
Of things, and it's hard to explain because it's not so much zero gravity, it's just the flipping of gravity and things like that, and it's such a cool way of doing it that I liked it a lot, and I liked it because we have these different tense moments going on, like we have the van, we have this, we have that, and they're all kind of working together. But I always was bummed when we cut back to this, not because of the fact that it was not tense. It's tense for sure, because we're like, are they going to get there? Is it going to happen? What's going to happen? But because there was so much other cooler shit going down in all the other parts, and I think that's what bummed me out, was that it was like we'd see this, and like this would be the like we're about to do the kick, and he's gonna do all this stuff and set it up, and it was such a cool those were the cooler moments to me. All this other stuff was sort of, whatever. Mm-hmm. Oh. Bullshit. Those are projections. He's destroying like precious memories. That was the memory of his of the time he went with his father to Disneyland.
This is the actual process that they use in Eternal Sunshine.
Yes.
To go in and delete memories.
Yes. God, if only one of these motherfuckers had been in Eternal Sunshine, The Spotless Mind, then that would have been their fucking movie before their dream before Inception.
I like to think Cillian Murphy's movie was Sunshine, which you still haven't seen, have you?
No, I have not.
God, it's so good.
I've heard it's good.
You really need to watch that, among other things.
There's many movies I need to watch. Much like the many movies you need to watch. So again, and I love this.
There's only a couple movies I
love that idea. I love that. I love everything about I think the hotel sequence more than I love about the winter sequence. Everything I dislike about the winter sequence, I love about the hotel sequence. Because it's such a... I think, it might be because it's abstract. That might be it. Like, there's no other real reason I can think of.
Mm-hmm. And it's also a little bit of a shame that some of these snow sequences, some of them look really pretty and some of them don't. Yeah. Like, a lot of the stuff with the mountains look really pretty, but then there's a lot of stuff where it's just like trees and gray everything, which doesn't look as good. Yeah. Which is a little unfortunate. All the stuff inside looks pretty good, though.
Oh, yeah. Here it is. Because
it's an impressive door.
It is. Again, the payoff is such a great payoff.
Yeah.
When it happens. Uh-oh. I love how it's... Love this. I love that shot too that he shoots her. Mm-hmm. It would have been more impressive had he headshot her though. I think.
What?
I think it would have been more impressive had he killed her.
Oh well,
like one shot kill, but that's me. But
didn't he effectively do that though?
I don't know if he killed her. I mean, I guess
because it's not like they have a.
I guess a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
My brain just thinks that would be a flesh wound.
Although it is kind of funny that he's shooting all of these guys, and Ariadne is just like, aren't you killing like parts of his subconscious? And he's like, no, it's totally cool. And then Mal comes up and he's like, how do you know she's not real? While she's standing in a pile of like 50 dead bodies.
No, it's because she's not real, dude. Not real. Not real.
Not real.
We come to the end of this film.
Not yet, son.
I know, we haven't opened up the...
The arrogance
of man. The arrogance of man is that they think they're in control of their dreams.
And not the other way around.
Are always going to be quoting that line for fucking Ken Watanabe. There are other roles Ken has been in too, I think.
None that matter.
None that matter.
Not like that one.
Not like that one. God damn. That was a movie.
Technically, yeah.
I don't, but see, the thing is, I feel bad about talking about another piece of content in a piece of content like this. Look, it's a beach. Are we deep in... We're deep in his subconscious, right?
I believe we are in Cobb's Limbo.
Yeah. I always loved that shot. I always loved the
Yeah.
destruction of his... That he has to take care of her.
Yeah, and I love that it so well reflects that scene earlier where he was describing his time with Mal in this limbo / deep sleep state where they were building towers out of the sand.
Yeah.
And then not only does this reflect that in some way, but it also reflects like the frailty of the sand that they used.
That's
to
exactly
build
what I was saying. But even then, it also reflects on another level, on a dream level. We are only able to make 3 layers deep, stably. The 4th layer is like unstable as all hell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As the dates go. Don't be.
Do you think that grenade is Wi-Fi enabled?
Of course I do. It's a white grenade, isn't it?
Yeah, Watch Dogs style.
It's an eye grenade. I haven't even played Watch Dogs yet.
RFID tagged grenades. Just hack into it.
Yeah, you hack into it via your cell phone because that's how all hackers go. You have a cell phone that you tap into a camera.
You open up your hack app on your iPhone.
And then you hop from camera to camera to camera because that's how you do it. That's how you get up the credential tree. Every hacker knows that. That's the one thing that bugs me about that game, but I still want to fucking play it.
That game seems like it has a couple of problems, but it looks all right.
Unlike this movie that has no problems. Because he knows where to go. He's going to follow his kids to his wife's projections point of view. Has Joseph Gordon-Levitt been in a movie that involves space yet?
It's really funny hearing you try to pronounce his name every time.
How do you pronounce it?
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
That's why I said Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
I feel like you said it with a slightly weird
I always will say it with a weird reflection because it's so much more fun to say it with like different tonalities.
Okay.
I like it because I want to call him Joey, but I know that's an insult to his name.
Well, he goes by Joe.
Does he go by Joe?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe we'll just call him Joe.
Like on Twitter,
Levitt.
he's hit record Joe.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, let's call him Joe Levitt then, because that's a little easier. Because Joseph Gordon-Levitt is a okay. Just say it again.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah.
I keep saying Joseph, and then
I feel like you keep saying Josen.
No, I don't mean to say that.
Like you keep jumping ahead a little bit.
Because I think his name is a goddamn mouthful.
Yeah.
You know. And it's hard to say it all in one thing, but I feel bad without saying it because I've not known him as Joe. But now that now that Joe has been introduced into my lexicon, I think I'll call him Joe Levitt from here on out.
All right.
That just doesn't sound right though, but I'm gonna get used to it. But that doesn't deter from the point. Has Joe Levitt been in a space movie yet?
Yeah, I don't like hearing Joe Levitt.
See, exactly. And neither do I.
I mean, I think if you just call him Joe, that'd be fine. But like, if you're gonna bring in the last name into the mix, you got to go full Monty.
All right, fair enough. All right, Mr. Levitt. How does that sound?
I mean, sure. I'm gonna keep calling him Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Look, has motherfucker been in a space movie or not?
Or JGL.
JGL. We gotta.
If you want to abbreviate,
we gotta standardize something. Has JGL been on a space movie or not?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It depends. Do you consider Angels in the Outfield?
Oh, that's
an
right.
outer space
We have.
movie?
That is a movie. I'm surprised we didn't do that one next. Just because
as our follow-up to
the Mighty
Ducks.
Ducks. It was that movie was go through every sports movie that ever happened in the 90s. We would do that. We would then do Little Giants.
Space Jam,
of course. Kick into maybe The Sandlot. We could probably pull that in as this thing. And then we could end it with the emotional League of Their Own.
I forgot that JGL did 50-50. I really liked that movie.
What was that about?
Did you ever see that?
No, I did not.
JGL gets cancer, and Seth Rogen is his buddy.
Oh, I think I heard about that one.
It's pretty good. Yeah, no space stuff, I believe.
Here it is. I love this interaction because this is like his deepest subconscious trying to keep him here.
Yeah, and this is where he finally makes the turning point where he's able to let her go, which is great.
Oh yeah. But that's sort of why I wish she'd hooked up with, I guess, Ellen Page, because like that's the new.
I mean, keep dreaming, man.
That's okay. I just like Ellen Page hooking up with people, male or female.
Yeah, sure.
I'm just saying, Ellen Page swings that way.
Oh yeah, that's right. she came out like
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to say.
I totally forgot that even happened.
I'm like, it's totally cool how Ellen Page wants to swing, and you're just like, whatever. Oh shit, that's right. She did come out. Yeah. Fuck, you're right. I guess she can swing that way.
Yeah, I totally forgot that was even a thing.
No, it's not even a thing. I remember that was such a big deal because of the fact that she did it around the time that the game came out.
Beyond Two Souls.
Beyond Two Souls. That she came out then, or she came out. Either she came out then, or something was happening with. No, it was something was happening with the movie that people thought, The Last of Us. I think the DLC had come out because people thought that Ellie was based on her, and such.
I'm still looking through this. I'm pretty sure.
No, I don't think he's done a space movie.
Space
I would love to see him do a space movie now. I mean, he's done science fiction. I mean, Looper's sci-fi.
Yeah, totally.
We could put him in Star Trek or the new Star Wars.
I didn't realize how much TV stuff he had done.
He's done a lot of TV that I did know, but I forget what. But I know he's did a lot of TV.
Family Ties.
Really?
Yeah, for a couple episodes.
Okay, fair enough.
Murder, She Wrote, etc.
What was she? Was he a regular? He was regular on Third Rock from the Sun. That's where. Yeah. That's the regular.
I mean, that's where.
Yeah.
He's known from.
Yeah. That's why I remember he did TV was that specific series with Third Rock from the Sun.
And also, of course, Brick.
Yep.
Which is fantastic. The Brothers Bloom.
Yep.
Wait, he was in The Brothers Bloom?
I think he like a.
Oh, he's uncredited. So apparently he was just kind of in there.
Yeah.
Probably because Ryan Johnson did that, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Someone,
And since he's buddies with him,
Yeah.
like he was probably like, "Hey, man, you wanna be in this scene?"
Even then, it's that kind of movie that I think JGL would just cameo in.
I don't remember ever seeing him in that. Did you ever see Hesher?
No, I did not.
Me neither.
Do you want to one of these days do a here and we get I love that we get more exposition. I love the exposition we get because it's such a cool.
Oh, we're about to
way.
get to the head on the railroad track, right?
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite filmmaking things, like mechanics, techniques, that I feel like is kind of underutilized sometimes. Like, so I've been watching through Giant Bomb's playthroughs of Deadly Premonition again.
Right.
And the game is kind of simultaneously great and horrible, and there's a lot of charm to it. But they do that technique where, there's a line you hear repeated throughout the game, kind of over and over again, and I love that kind of having this piece of dialogue that is just kind of fascinating to hear on its own, and it's sort of this abstract character of itself, and then as the film goes on, you keep hearing it. Sometimes you hear other people say it, sometimes, and every time it's kind of recontextualized, and it makes you think about it slightly differently. And I wish it was used more, because I love this kind of stuff.
Oh yeah. But even like this, the idea of because again, if you're in this deep in a dream, you don't know whether you're real or not. Still. I'm really surprised they didn't use any old age makeup on Leo's character when it came to that point when they got themselves killed by the train.
Oh well, there is that one scene coming up where they show them as old people.
Yeah, that's the one for sure when they do it. The Saito Limbo, if you will.
Well, no, like it shows.
Oh,
Mal and Cobb.
yeah. That's right. You're absolutely right. Now I think about it, I forgot about that scene. I fucking love these. I love this shot here.
Really neat.
No, like the shot's okay here, but it's okay because Ken Watanabe is about to kick some ass from beyond the grave.
The arrogance of guns
is that they think man controls them. Or like when in actuality guns control man. I love there it is. He's gonna eat the grenade.
Nom, nom, nom. The arrogance of grenades.
Arrogance of grenades. Oh, I am dead. In my dreams. I am now in limbo. Ken Watanabe's Limbo. It's got to be cool.
Yeah, he's just eating soup all the time.
See, the question now goes, what level is he hearing the music in? What? Okay, I see. That's the hard part. I started to lose track of what level he was. He had the music in.
I mean, you can hear the music throughout all the levels. Just the deeper you go in, the quieter and more distant it sounds. Because you could almost hear it down to this level. Also, I love films that use weather as a thematic device.
Yes. Here it is. We've got but seconds until until the water. This is one kick. Sorry, babe. You're just not real. But my kids that are walking around in my dreams, they're real.
So, Cobb hasn't been into Limbo since he left with Mal, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's a good idea to keep in mind that, you know, he left with her and then she died, and then he hasn't returned to this place that they once cherished until now, and now that he's down here, he's actually able to confront himself, so to speak.
Yeah. Here it is. I love how he like waits till the last minute to kick the kick in. And I love that he's like, not yet. Like how I like how he can kind of tell the timing, but this is the scene I enjoy because, like, after all that, this is the kind of payoff I was hoping for.
It looks kind of like that scene from 2001.
Yeah. But what I dig about it is that, you know, it's abstract, and that's sort of what it was. I enjoy the abstractness of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to make sure. You know. Part of me thinks this is actually what was real, to be honest, in his head.
What do you mean?
Like that whole, because I know there's a lot of reflection and things like that, but I like the fact that I really believe that that's actually what really occurred. You know, here it is. The whole that you tried. Like, I want to believe that actually is his real mindset.
Oh, his father's?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Open the other safe.
It's a pretty good storytelling lesson that, you know, when they broke down the heist and how they were planning it, that catharsis is the only real way to resonate with him.
Yeah.
In that, you know, reaching a point of
well, because you know that the beauty part about a lot of these things is that there are demons, you know, that you have to kind of come to terms with, even in your mind, and sometimes your greatest fears you have to kind of come to terms with. And, you know, his dad died, and even though they're setting a seed to do something tells me that that's just that's really what needed to happen for this character. You know, in terms of his own life, you know, because for him to move on, like, it's not. Yes, it helps out Saito and all the fun jazz, but I really believe that that's what the best decision was for that character.
Yeah, and he probably would have come to some kind of similar personal resolution at some point in his life.
Exactly.
They just kind of urged that along.
Yeah.
And it's also great that, you know, Cobb is kind of reaching the same kind of catharsis with his Mal obsession.
Yeah.
At the same time.
The parallels, if you will.
Oh,
they all wake up. I'm gonna die.
That looks fun.
It does look fun. Now she's got to ride the kick. The next kick. The water kick. And then I guess they ride the final kick, right? I'm trying to figure out when the final kick happens. The wake up in the airplane kick.
Right. I think once they get into just one layer deep, they can kind of just wake up once the stuff wears off.
Yeah. Cobb Cobb rolls it 4 layers deep.
See, there's your old people.
That's right. I remember they had the shot. I just can't remember when it was.
So, Limbo Mal is single now, right?
Yeah.
All right. Be right back. I'm going into limbo, ladies and gentlemen.
Is that what you're going to do?
Yep.
So, okay. So, as we finally approach the end of the film, we are about to come to what I call the BS ending. And I've talked about it at the very beginning. But the thing that tricks people into thinking about... Because, this is the part, really, where people go post the film and did the whole... Well, was it a dream or was it not a dream? Was it real or wasn't real? And it was all based on a couple things. One, the suddenness of how fast Saito and Cobb woke up. That they didn't go through all the kicks. They didn't have to. They just became what? Awake. Also, is it funny that they have to breathe in a dream?
A little bit, but they might also be worried about drowning and dying in the dream before the solution's worn off.
I guess, but, they're in a dream, so...
Yeah, but you can...
I love this shot right here, by the way.
You can still die in a dream.
I fucking love...
Yeah,
that reveal.
That's a really, really great transition.
Yeah.
Nolan's showing off.
Nolan is always showing off.
Saying, hey, look at me. I'm so good at making movies.
Love how he just left him there. He didn't even take him with him. Apparently he can take the whole, drowning part. Got a gun.
Yes, and then the reprisal of
Yes.
this line. I love it so much. Oh, and it's really thinking back on it, it's kind of sneaky because
Yeah.
a lot of people try to do kind of this circular storytelling stuff where they start the story at the end and then they're like, let's step it back, let's go back to the beginning, and then they go through and then they're like, hey, remember this because we showed it at the beginning of the film for no good reason. But here they integrated it into this. It was an introduction into the dream world, and then they continued off into the present dream, and it was a very smooth transition.
Now here's the
to get this payoff.
Now here's the kicker. Was all that just happened a dream? No, I'm being very serious. We come back to the scene, old man. But we had smoothly transitioned to that first part of the movie from here. What if all that we just watched now was just more of, do you remember? And that was a dream, the whole thing, up to this point. More of an echo, if you will. Maybe not a dream per se, but an echo of what had happened already.
Like him reflecting back on stuff?
Yeah.
Maybe.
And only because of the fact that, it had that clean transition, and then we come back to that same scene. Because, that was, again, this is the point right here that I got worried. It was the fact he woke up so quickly and became so much a part of it, that kind of thing. He didn't have to go through all the kicks.
Yeah, in some ways, this ending here is more surreal than the third dream.
Yeah.
In that lineup of dreams.
Yep. He even doubts it, that he's like, does this happen? Is this cool, Cobb? Do we do it?
Yo, check out these seats. I'm reclining like a thug. Damn.
This has to be a dream. No one fucking makes airplane seats like this. This can't be real. Why the fuck would I design airplane seats like this? Why would I have the phone in my hand? All these bullshit things.
You got the carpet on this airplane wrong.
Yeah. That's the kicker.
Yeah.
And then now he's made enough money to pay off the whatever he had to pay off. The fact that he can't come back in the States for some strange reason.
Well, he was being sought out by the authorities because of his wife's death.
Yes.
And the fact that she preemptively pinned it on him.
Well,
so that way he would have to go into limbo with her.
Yeah.
And so he is apparently he is a wealthy enough man, a well-off enough dude that he has people looking out for him saying, "Hey, bro, if you don't want to get arrested and locked away for life, you better come with me and leave the country."
Yeah, and that guy's looking at that guy like, I just had a dream with him.
Yo, that was some shit.
Yeah, we did some stuff. Hey, look, it's that dude.
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine. The size of a tangerine. I can't do Michael Caine. Not if my life depended on it. Alfred. And here we come. Brent, we finally have hit the end of the movie.
Yeah.
We finally hit the point where Robert got angry. Right here. Right here. Not exactly here. What if, okay, here's the question now. What if the movie had ended without the revealing of the faces? Like, or what, like it revealed the faces and they're all Mal's face. And it was obviously a dream. And he was still stuck in limbo for the entire eternity. And there's nothing he could have done.
Or if just like, it was just like a blank face with no eyes or
yes,
mouth or anything.
Yes, and it was just like, no. And he looks at the top and he keeps spinning because this is where everyone got so fucking pissed off. Because you look at it, it wobbles. Like, everybody had their one fucking conspiracy theory behind it.
It has just the perfect amount of wobble to where you're like, is it going to fall? Or is that just a little bit of wobble to be like,
Yeah. I will be honest. I do wonder how they did that shot because it is a pretty good, smooth shot. So I'm wondering because I don't like.
I remember hearing about how they did it, but I don't remember specifically.
Because it wasn't like the top was actually spinning like that well.
I think that was part of it.
Interesting.
Because I know they had a top specifically designed that would spin for a really
long time. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, but I also saw another technique where somebody developed a method where you could just have it spinning.
Yeah, I'd imagine
ad
there's a
infinitum.
little bit of CG in there, just because, or at least repeating that portion of the shot or something like that. Brandt, this was awesome.
Yeah.
Tell people where they can find you online.
Yo, you can find me online at twitter.com/Gatowag, GATOWAG. You can find me on Facebook, Brandt Hughes, BRANDT HUGHES. You can find my Facebook fan page, Brandt Hughes as Through Culture. You can find me on Flickr, flickr.com/Gatowag. You can find me on Flickchart, flickchart.com/Gatowag. You can find me on Tumblr, gatowag.tumblr.com. You can find me on Google+, Brandt Hughes. You can find me on, what are some other places? I'm all over the place. You can find me YouTube, youtube.com/Gatowag. You can find me on Vimeo, vimeo.com/Gatowag.
I think the one that's going to be most beneficial for you audience members is to go to the Tumblr page, because whenever this gets posted on the good old CosmicRadio.TV network, Brandt here will post a really funny animated GIF on the Tumblr linking to this post. Sometimes it contextualizes the movie. Usually it's some kind of additional joke that we kind of gagged about. Like for our Mighty Ducks one, for example, we have the animated gifs of the whole what did you do, my job kind of thing that we lost our shit over. So it does add a little bit of contextualization to it. It's a little bit sillier sometimes, but I think it's always fun to look at all that stuff.
And I've only done that once before, so I wouldn't hold your breath. Especially since this goes up tomorrow.
Well, no, you've done some other stuff. Like you've had pictures of when we did the reaction for her. I thought you did something.
I did a quick little.
Yeah, you did a couple things. But even then, there's still some other kind of fun stuff on his blog. Some behind the scenes stuff in Scam School shots. Yeah. Other links to what you've done. Really, really awesome things. And of course,
I want to post a GIF of that time lapse from this week's Scam School episode.
You should.
So
you should. And if you can find it, my one thing I want is Chris Ronan's shot of him just doing the head shake.
Classic.
Of course, you can find me. I'm at Vincent404 there on the Twitters. If you want to comment on this episode, talk about your experience with Inception, maybe other Christopher Nolan movies or JGL films for that matter, head to our website, CosmicRadio.TV/Cinematalkraphy. There you'll find links to show notes, previous episodes, all the different social accounts about this little show, and all the different areas you can listen to, such as on iTunes and YouTube and things like that. And, of course, other shows on this network, such as my podcast, My So-Called 8-Bit Life.
Yep.
So that's it for now. Till later. Bye.
I'm going to go to sleep.
Same here.
Good night.